Here we have what many call the ultimate Patek Philippe Nautilus. This is the Nautilus Perpetual Calendar, reference number 5740/1G-001. The 5740 is the first Nautilus to feature a grand complication, and the grand complication it features is obviously the Perpetual Calendar. It's an absolutely striking looking way they've done the Perpetual Calendar, and it features a lot of ingenuity the way they've managed to fit the Perpetual Calendar into essentially the same case size as a 5711 at 40mm and fit it onto the dial of the Nautilus with the 3 subdials. I think it looks absolutely fantastic, and we'll delve a lot more into that. So Patek Philippe are actually the pioneers of the Perpetual Calendar. A lot of people didn't know this. They'd probably assume it though, really. Obviously Patek Philippe really are at the upper echelons of watchmaking, and the complication of the Perpetual Calendar really is one of the best complications available on a watch. Especially in the 1900s when it was invented. I mean, how groundbreaking is that? So yeah, I mean, obviously this is a Perpetual Calendar made by the inventors of the Perpetual Calendar, which in my opinion is the best watchmaking house in the world, and many people would agree with that fact. The 5740, as mentioned, is exactly the same case size as the 5711, which we all know and love. But obviously the 5740 is a G reference, indicating that it's made out of white gold, which obviously makes it a lot heavier than the 5711 in steel. I, for one, think the extra weight is a good thing, because I like to know the wrist presence of something I'm wearing, especially something of this caliber. It's nice to feel the weight of it on your wrist and really feel like you're wearing something. Whereas I am a massive fan of 5711, I have said that in the past, don't get me wrong. However, for me, I find it a little bit too thin and a little bit too light for daily wear. Almost feels like you're wearing nothing, which a lot of people do like, but for me, I like to have a bit more wrist presence in something that, you know, I'm wearing and spending quite a bit of money on, which is why I usually prefer a 5980 or a 5990, or in fact, obviously the best one, which is the 5740. And another little small distinguisher just on the side of the case, which you don't have on the 5711, is the small pushers which you use with Patek's stylus in order to set the Perpetual Calendar. One thing that I do massively prefer on the 5740 to the 5711 would be the clasp. They both feature a butterfly clasp, but the 5740 features the new and updated clasp, which we're starting to see on a lot more of the models now, which has got the 2-button butterfly clasp that folds away from each other. I just think that's so much of a better clasp to use for daily use, and it's a lot more comfortable than the older clasp that we saw on the 5711. Another thing that I'm a really big fan on the 5740 is the dial. Dials on the Nautiluses are really their showstopper, the most important and the most beautiful part. The 5711 does have a lovely dial, and there has been some lovely iterations of the dials over the years, but the 5711 blue is quite a bit darker than what we see on the 5740. This is definitely a few shades lighter, so almost like a sunburst blue, I'd call it. It does sort of change, in appearance when you're in the sun or in different shades of light, and I really like it. Obviously, it's got the classic rivets that we've come to see across the Nautilus line, which look absolutely fantastic. And obviously the 5740, being a Perpetual Calendar, needs somewhere to house all of those complications, which you can see up on the dial. They've done it in a really ingenious way, and have managed to fit it all only onto 3 subdials, which is really good, and it just looks fantastic. So it almost looks like a chrono. Obviously it's not a chrono, because the way the Patek have done the chrono even looks different and better on than traditional chronos like on the 5980, which you can see up on screen. But this is not a chrono, obviously, it's the Perpetual Calendar, and they fit all the complications just onto those 3 subdials. Obviously, being a Nautilus, the 5740 is an incredibly comfortable watch. The way that the links fit together on the 5740 are just elegant and fantastic, and it really does add to the comfortability. And obviously that goes to show for the fact that how demand this watch is around the world. There's waiting lists everywhere for the Nautilus in all iterations. And I think that has obviously got something to do with the comfortability. However, I'm not surmising that the ultimate demand for the ultimate sports watch is solely down to how comfortable the bracelet is, but I'm sure that helps. If this watch wasn't comfortable, something like an AP Brick, for example, I doubt it would have the allure and the demand that we see for it day in, day out. The 5740 uses a powerhouse of a Patek Philippe movement. It's the caliber 240Q, which is a Perpetual Calendar movement first introduced by Patek Philippe in 1985. It's a traditional and quintessentially Patek movement, but we see something different happening here. We see perhaps the most recognisable, or one of the most recognisable, luxury steel sports watches on the planet being merged with a classic and quintessential Patek Philippe grand complication movement of the 240Q. and I believe that the two really do work together hand in hand to create such a wonderful masterpiece in the 5740. The 240Q as a complication has the function of hours, minutes, 24 hours dial, perpetual calendar with month, day of the week, date, leap year indicator and moon phase. It's an absolute powerhouse of a caliber, managing to do all of these functions in such an intricate and delicate manner. The movement is only 3.88mm thick, which has a diameter of 27.5mm, which for a movement with this many functions is pretty small and incredible. The movement in this watch and the setting of this watch is absolutely incredible. If you were to set this watch today as the owner, you would not have to reset it as long as you wore it or kept it on a watch winder this century. It's likely whoever sets this watch today will be outlived by the watch, which is absolutely incredible for a mechanical watch movement. For this reason, Patek Philippe supplies this stunning watch winder made out of really nice leather. This watch winder is all controlled by an app, and you set it to what watch you have and what movement you have, and then the watch winder takes over from there. So if you would put the watch in the winder, the 5740, the watch winder will spin 1,440 times in 24 hours in a set, once clockwise and once anti-clockwise, obviously half each way. This keeps the watch constantly set for you, and obviously anytime you put it on, it'll be set to the exact time and date, no matter what month or year it is, including leap years, until the year 2100. Absolutely amazing. This whole winder is a great bit of kit and is all controlled ingeniously by the app that you get on your phone, and it's a really great addition to the 5740 full set. The 5740 also has a 38 to 48 hour power reserve. However, obviously Patek Philippe does supply the winder, or you're probably going to be wearing such a stunning piece. So that's probably not going to come into play, because you want to keep the Perpetual Calendar set at all times. The 5740 was released at Basel World in 2018, and it really probably was the star of the show. It's had such an allure about it, and still actually does have that allure to this day. Nobody was really expecting it, and obviously, as I said, it is the first grand complication to be inside a Nautilus, so it really created a real big buzz around it, and everyone just absolutely loved it from the get-go, straight out of the gate. So retail when it was released back in 2018 was around £90,000, and steadily Patek Philippe has been increasing the retail to obviously align it with the grey market prices, as have other brands such as Rolex and AP. Retail now is £117,140. Obviously it's absolutely impossible to get for that. You can't get them unless you are a VIP client. This is probably the hardest Nautilus to get at retail. These are obviously at a discount now in the grey market. They were significantly higher. In the height of the market, I was selling this piece for close to 300k. They've come down a bit, or significantly in fact. This one now is around £200,000, and we have it available in stock. So it does, if you compare it to a year ago, it does represent fantastic value in the market, and these have always been trading, even upon release, upon nigh on double retail price. So when it was 80, 90, it was 160, 180, and then it went up to, it's always just pretty much been at a multiple of 2. But now obviously it's actually less than a multiple of 2, so it does in fact even look better from a value perspective. From 117 to 200, it's not massive in terms of what a Patek Philippe price gap can be. So if you're interested in the 5740, please do give us a call. For me, I think it probably is the ultimate Nautilus. It is available at retail today, or available in general, unless you were to look at anniversary models. Like I've done a video on the 5976, which you can see up in the banner if you click that there. That's also a great watch, but I mean, it's not really an everyday piece at 44mm. So I think this for an everyday piece would be a good one. But I'd be really interested to hear your guys' thoughts on it. And if anyone's got any interest, you've got all my contact details below. Please do give me a call. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And thanks for tuning in to another episode at Trilogy. My name's Frankie Mardell, and if you're looking for a new watch, don't forget to phone Frankie first.